I'm Ian Frazer. Some 30 years ago, my late colleague and I came up with a technology which has enabled the development of vaccines to help prevent cervical cancer. Cervical cancer should be an entirely preventable disease.
But why is it that still over 250,000 women a year die from cervical cancer, 90% of whom are from developing countries?
Women are screened very rarely here for cervical cancer, but through our strategy and work with the government, we've been able to convince them that they should introduce into their health strategy that 50% of the women in Nepal should be screened at least over the next 5 years. So it's very slow steps, but it's aiming towards, in the distant future, a very comprehensive cervical cancer strategy to try and reduce cervical cancer in Nepal. Of course, cervical cancer is the biggest cancer killer of women here. So hopefully over the next 5 to 10 years, we'll be able to reduce the rates of death here for cervical cancer, the same as we've done in Australia. And of course, if we have healthy women, we'll end up having healthy communities.
Since 2008, ACCF has vaccinated over 95,000 girls in developing countries, such as Nepal, for as little as $20 a girl. By vaccinating these girls, their chances of dying from cervical cancer are reduced by 80%.
I feel so proud because they got the opportunity of getting immunization so that they may not get affected by such cancer in future. So that I'm so glad.
Vaccinating a girl is one thing and is a great long-term prevention method. It is also essential to screen women and treat those women who have been diagnosed with abnormalities. At this screening camp in Nepal in 2013, over 150 women were screened, with one woman presenting with abnormalities that required further medical attention. Mandan was diagnosed with a prolapsed uterus and suspected cancerous growth after attending one of these screening clinics. She is one of our success stories. These women would never otherwise have access to screening clinics if it was not for the work of ACCF and its partner NACCF, the Nepal Australian Cervical Cancer Foundation.
And I want to really convey my heartfelt gratitude to the Australian people, Australian embassy also. Those people who help us has been very much helpful to the women of Nepal in order to save their. Otherwise, they don't have any other access to save their life from the cervical cancer.
अब यस्तो अब भनौँ न हाम्रो जस्तो देशमा महिलाहरू धेरै पछाडी परेको छ नि उहाँहरूको सहयोग अझ पछि पनि धेरै अपेक्षा.
Graham Lade is a current ACCF board member and formerly the Australian ambassador to Nepal between 2006 and 2009.
Well, I think I would go back to the launch of the vaccine here, where we had a woman who was in the final stages of cervical cancer, and she told the story about the agony and pain she was in, the fact that she had difficulty getting treatment here, she couldn't afford it, it wasn't available, and she was really upset she could not support her family. It was a horrid sight to look at, but it was very moving, and she had the audience in tears. And I think this is one of the things about cervical cancer. It's an insidious disease. It sneaks up on women. They don't know they have it because the physical symptoms don't show up till too late. And so it's so important either for girls to get the vaccination or women to get screened early, and then it can be treated easily. So the message is, don't wait, get your injection or get screened.
We invite you to help us continue to make a real difference for women and their families in both Australia and overseas.